If you think of conspiracy theorists here on YouTube, people like Alex Jones or Paul Joseph Watson probably come to mind. While those two certainly fit the bill, I would argue that there are plenty of people on the left who are pushing ridiculous narratives as well. People like Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks and Kyle Kulinski of Secular Talk subscribe to what I think qualifies as a conspiracy theory. They believe what is essentially an ecumenical version of the old Jewish conspiracy, which means they think a small group of people are actually in charge of everything that happens, and that these people are using their power to benefit themselves at our expense. Instead of the Jews, though, the culprits are the corporations, the campaign donors, and the establishment politicians they bought off. It's the conspiracy of money in politics.
The most important thing, which I briefly alluded to before, is the issue that led to all the other policies being implemented, which is corruption, also known as money in politics. When you have corporations and rich people and special interests and Wall Street giving massive amounts of money in campaign contributions to the politicians, then the politicians, when they get in power, they're obligated to pay back the people that gave them money. So in other words, they're not representing the American people, which is who they're supposed to be representing. That's the constituents. On paper, in theory, that's how the democracy works. Represent the people that put you in office, that voted for you. But ever since 1978 and Buckley versus Faleo and all the subsequent Supreme Court cases that legalized corruption and legalized bribery, well, now we have a system where the politicians represent the people that paid them, which is the special interest and the rich.
Now, it's one thing to say that corruption, rent-seeking behavior, and corporate malfeasance exist, and that these things are related to our campaign finance system. I believe that myself. It's quite another thing to say that everything that happens, from singular events to long-term trends, are the result of the evil machinations of greedy billionaires. Whether or not the world works this way is even the subject of disagreement amongst people on TYT.
They don't run against big business because big business is their donors.
Yeah, I don't think it's that simple, but I know you do, but I definitely don't. It's definitely not just that simple.
This leads to extraordinarily lazy punditry, because whenever something happens, you can simply attribute it to the will of the establishment or the corporate donors. It's an epistemological quick fix. It's the political equivalent of God did it. It can be used as an explanation for anything. A great example of this, and a great example of why this line of reasoning is so deeply flawed, was when Kyle Kulinski covered Trump's decision not to pull out of NAFTA.
Trump's like, yeah, no, we're not getting out of NAFTA. Of course you're not getting out of NAFTA. No shit, you're not getting out of NAFTA. You want to know why? Because Donald Trump has been corrupted by the establishment, that's why.
First of all, while there is consensus amongst economists on the benefits of free trade, politicians don't necessarily agree. Protectionism is ubiquitous. Despite signing NAFTA into law, Bill Clinton was not ideologically committed to free trade. He signed on to many protectionist policies during his presidency as well. So too did George W. Bush, as did Barack Obama after him. In fact, the tariffs placed on Canadian softwood lumber that Trump recently enacted had been in the works for several years before he was even elected. Out of the 3 countries in NAFTA, the United States has the most tariffs in place. And according to a study conducted by Credit Suisse, the United States has implemented more protectionist policies than any other major economy. For what it's worth, there is no corporate consensus regarding protectionism either. Some corporations love it, while others hate it. For example, the domestic timber industry is happy about the new taxes placed on their foreign competition. But the corporations that use wood in their products, corporations that employ more people by a count of 20 to 1, are panicking right now. They don't want more expensive lumber. But here's the more important part. Who was it that convinced Trump not to pull out of NAFTA? Which evil member of the establishment convinced the president to sell the American people out once again? It was Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Here's the ironic part. These people who squawk about money in politics and our corrupt system frequently point to Canada as the country we should emulate. They're the country that does things right. They have single-payer healthcare, they have the wealthiest middle class in the world, and I'm told that they're unmolested by the problem of money in politics.
And this is why I talk about institutional change in America. You need to change the system. Because based on a little change in the system, for example, who is allowed to be in the media and how they serve, whether they serve the audience or not, Canada actually knows more than we do. Their population, it has access
better informed on the issues
to information than we do.
I even hear that they do the American dream better than America itself. Here's the best part of this video. Kyle names NAFTA as one of the reasons why the U.S. lags behind Canada.
No, see, what we need in order to get back on track is very simple. We need progressive policies. We need pro-union laws to be implemented. We need to raise the minimum wage. We need to get rid of NAFTA, GATT, and all the free trade deals that destroyed American middle-class jobs.
Forgetting, of course, that Canada is one of the 3 countries in NAFTA. So why is it that the Liberal Prime Minister of left-wing Canada requested that Trump not pull out of the trade deal? For that matter, why did Trudeau support the TPP? As did, by the way, the first elected member of the Justice Democrats, Ro Khanna. Have they too been bought off by the establishment and the corporate donors? No. It's because honest people can disagree about the merits of a given policy. Of course, this is hard to believe when you think that the only honest people are the ones who agree with you.